Lila Carter's life was a constant balancing act. Bills, daycare, late shifts, and endless exhaustion. Every day felt like a race she never won. But for her little girl, Mia, she kept running. Mia was her sunshine, her reason to smile when everything else felt too heavy. So when her best friend, Harper, signed her up for a blind date, Lila laughed it off. "Harper, I can't even find time to fold my laundry, let alone fall in love." Harper just grinned. "It's one dinner, Lila. You deserve to remember what being a woman feels like, not just a mom." That's how Lila found herself standing in front of Le Châtelet, the most luxurious restaurant in the city, clutching her daughter's tiny hand. The plan had been simple. Get a babysitter, put on her one decent dress, and survive dinner without spilling something. But life had other plans. Her babysitter canceled 15 minutes before the date. The neighbor's teenager who sometimes helped out was away for the weekend. She had two choices: cancel the date and disappoint Harper, or bring Mia and risk humiliation. She chose humiliation. Now, as she adjusted Mia's pink cardigan, her heart raced. She could feel eyes on her as she entered the golden-lit restaurant, people in evening gowns and suits turning to look at the young woman with a child. The maitre d' hesitated when she gave the reservation name. "Ah, yes, Mr. Blake is waiting. Right this way, ma'am." Lila's steps felt heavier with every stride. She spotted him instantly. A tall man in a charcoal gray suit, his back straight, his phone in his hand. Even from across the room, he radiated confidence and quiet command. "What am I doing here?" she thought. "He probably owns this place." "Mr. Blake," she asked softly when she reached the table. He looked up, and Lila forgot how to breathe. His features were sharp but calm. Piercing blue eyes, a firm jaw, and a hint of curiosity playing on his lips. "You must be Lila." Before she could respond, Mia peeked from behind her mother's legs, gripping her skirt. "Hi," she said, voice tiny but clear. Lila's face went red. "I'm so sorry. My sitter canceled last minute, and..." But instead of irritation or surprise, Ethan Blake smiled. "And this must be your daughter." Mia blinked at him, unsure. "Are you mommy's friend?" He chuckled, setting his phone aside completely. "I'd like to be." They sat down. Lila tried to apologize again, but Ethan waved it off, pulling out a children's menu the waiter quickly provided. He knelt slightly to Mia's level. "What's your favorite, pizza or spaghetti?" "Spaghetti," Mia said instantly. "Then spaghetti it is." He looked at Lila. "I think we've just found our dinner expert." As the evening went on, Lila's nervousness began to fade. Ethan didn't seem like the cold, calculating billionaire she had imagined. He was patient, gentle even. He helped Mia fold her napkin into a swan, showed her how to balance a spoon on her nose, and made her laugh until she hiccuped. Lila watched quietly, warmth spreading through her chest. She wasn't used to this. Men running toward, not away from, her and her daughter. When Mia's attention was caught by a nearby aquarium wall, Lila whispered, "I'm really sorry about tonight. I know this isn't what you expected. Most men don't exactly dream of having a kid at their table during a date." Ethan turned to her, his expression soft but firm. "Lila, I didn't come here with expectations. I came to meet you." And he glanced at Mia, who was pressing her face to the glass to watch the fish. "She's part of you. So I'm glad she's here." The words hit her harder than she expected. Her throat tightened. No one had ever said that before. Not even her ex, who had left the moment he found out she was pregnant. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely steady. Ethan smiled. "For what?" "For not making me feel like a burden." He shook his head. "You're not a burden, Lila. You're a woman who's doing her best. That's something I respect." Dinner ended with Mia asleep on Lila's lap, her small head resting against her mother's arm. Ethan paid quietly, then helped Lila carry her purse and jacket to the car. When she turned to thank him again, he said softly, "I'd like to see you again. Both of you." The night of the blind date replayed in Lila's mind more times than she cared to admit. The way Ethan had smiled at her daughter, the warmth in his eyes when he said, "She's part of you." Most men saw her daughter as baggage, something that made dating too complicated. But Ethan had looked at Mia as if she were a gift. Still, Lila couldn't let herself believe it was anything more than a kind gesture. After all, Ethan Blake was a billionaire, a man from a world she didn't belong in. She waited for him to disappear like everyone else eventually did. But he didn't. The next morning, her phone buzzed with a message. Greater than Ethan. Did Mia ever finish that ice cream she loved so much? Lila. She tried, but she fell asleep halfway through. Ethan. I'll take that as a sign for round 2. Round 2 came the following weekend. This time, it wasn't a fancy restaurant, it was the city park. Lila expected something extravagant, but when she arrived, she saw Ethan sitting on a picnic blanket, sleeves rolled up, unwrapping sandwiches himself. He looked up and smiled as soon as he saw them. Ladies, I brought reinforcements. He pointed to a basket filled with crayons, bubbles, and a small stuffed bunny. Mia gasped. For me, all for you, Miss Mia, he said, bowing dramatically. The little girl giggled and instantly sat beside him, babbling about her favorite colors and how she wanted to draw a rainbow. Lila stood there watching, her heart tightening in the best possible way. They spent the afternoon laughing. Mia ran after Bubbles while Ethan and Lila talked. For the first time in a long while, she felt seen not as the single mom, or the tired waitress, but as herself. When Mia wandered off to chase a butterfly, Ethan turned to her. You know, I don't remember the last time I had this much fun. You're just being polite, Lila said, smiling shyly. He shook his head. No, I've spent most of my life in meetings, surrounded by people who only talk about money. But you and Mia, you're real. I didn't realize how much I needed that. Lila looked down at her hands, unsure how to respond. Ethan, thank you, but you don't have to do this. You don't owe us anything. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I know I don't. That's why I want to. Her breath caught. No one had ever said something like that to her before. Over the next few weeks, their lives slowly intertwined. Ethan showed up at the small cafe where Lila worked, always sitting at the same corner table with a book, waiting for her shift to end. He helped Mia learn to ride her bike, catching her every time she stumbled. He even attended her preschool recital, clapping the loudest when Mia, dressed as a sunflower, waved proudly at him from the stage. The bond between them deepened. Lila found herself smiling again, really smiling. But with every laugh, every stolen glance, fear crept in. He's too good to be true, she told herself. Soon he'll realize I don't belong in his world. One evening, as she tucked Mia into bed, she found a drawing on her daughter's nightstand. 3 stick figures holding hands, Mommy, me, and Ethan. Her heart ached. She didn't want her little girl to get attached, only to lose him later. That night, when Ethan came over for dinner, she finally said it. Ethan, she whispered, staring at her half-empty plate, I think you should stop coming over. He froze. Did I do something wrong? No, she said quickly. You've been wonderful, but Mia's starting to depend on you. And I can't let her get hurt if this doesn't work out. You have your world, and we have ours. Ethan leaned back, his expression unreadable. Lila, do you really think I'm just going to walk away because it's not convenient? She met his eyes, voice trembling. It's happened before. He exhaled slowly. Then let me prove I'm not like the ones before. A month later, Lila walked into the same restaurant where they'd first met. Ethan had insisted on dinner, saying it was important. When she arrived, the table was decorated with candles and soft white roses, simple, elegant, just like him. Mia sat beside him, grinning mischievously. Mommy, she squealed. Guess what, mister? Ethan said he has a question. Lila frowned in confusion, but then Ethan stood and took her hand. Mia already said yes, he said, smiling down at the little girl, but I need to ask you too. He dropped to one knee, pulling out a small velvet box. Inside was a delicate ring, sparkling softly under the candlelight. Lila Carter, he said gently, you and Mia walked into my life when I didn't even know I was missing something. You showed me love that isn't bought or bargained for, it's real. So I'm asking, will you both let me be part of your family? Tears blurred Lila's vision. She looked at Mia, who nodded enthusiastically, whispering, say yes, Mommy. And through the tears, laughter, and disbelief, Lila finally found her voice. Yes, She whispered. Yes, we will. Ethan rose, kissing her forehead before lifting Mia into his arms. Guess what, princess, he said softly. Now I'm really your friend. Lila wrapped her arms around them both, her heart full. For years, she'd feared that having a child made her unworthy of love. But Ethan didn't see her as less, he saw her as whole. And for the first time, Lila knew, love didn't have to be perfect. It just had to be real. Lila's heart skipped. Are you sure? He smiled. Slow, genuine, and warm. I don't say things I don't mean. And for the first time in years, Lila left a date not feeling invisible, but seen.